Welcome to today's masterclass, the first in Boots and the Princess Trust Joy of the Journey series, which aims to support you in finding your confidence and joyful jobs. We're filming in Boots recording studio in Nottingham, and they are really looking after us. I'm your host, Kyle Frank, and I am a Princess Trust Young Ambassador who was supported by the charity to set up my own business. I'm joined by an exciting panel who are ready to share their journeys to inspire you, as well as provide you with useful tips and tricks for finding a job. So Boots have been supporting the Princess Trust to help young people develop the skills and confidence they need to find a job, and you could be next. So let's get started. Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned as we're launching a Christmas competition to win a hamper of goodies worth more than £250. Now, let's meet the panel. So I was introduced to the Princess Trust by having an idea for a business but just not knowing how to get started at all. I went on their 4-day enterprise program, learned about the key fundamentals of business, and with their support, help, and just amazing people, I'm where I am today. So big thanks to the Princess Trust. But there are lots of ways the Princess Trust supports 16 to 30-year-olds to get into work and training. Let's meet our panel. Joe, you also started your journey on a Princess Trust program. How did you find the course?
Yeah, it was great. It was a really helpful time. It gave me a lot of advice about sort of confidence and different skills you can use. So it really set me up well for my career at Boots, really.
Amazing. And could you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing now with Boots?
Yeah, so I'm working in recruitment. So my job primarily is screening candidates that come through, almost like conducting a short interview with them.
Yeah.
And then managing the vacancies in a certain region in the UK. So we can try and get the best candidates possible through to the roles we have.
Amazing. Now, Ryan, you started as a Christmas temp, working with Boots, and now you're a marketing manager. How did you move on from one role to the other?
So I think a lot of it started with like a good conversation with my manager. So very often I'd kind of make it known where I want to go next. Also kind of building relationships with people within the teams that I want to go with. So kind of understanding more about those roles and defining where I want to go. I think the other things is I would like put myself into the environment of the place that I want to go next. So familiarise myself with it and kind of, just get to know what it's all about, really.
And did you know that the role that you're in now was what you wanted to do when you first started in the beginning?
Yeah, so I've always kind of wanted to get into marketing, and like I kind of researched like Boots beforehand to check that role was in the business. So it was just kind of a way of like getting there, really.
Amazing. And what do you love about marketing?
It's just really creative. Like I think you kind of start with a concept, and then you kind of see the finished job, and I love it.
You're kind of like using your natural talents in the job that you're in now.
Exactly. Yeah, working with lots of people as well, which is great.
Amazing. So Sam, you're a Boots recruiter. So what does that involve?
Yeah, so it's basically, it's a combination of things really. So obviously it's finding people to work for the company. Sort of that's the primary thing. So lots of different ways of sort of getting out there and finding people. So through like LinkedIn and things like that. Also building relationships and stuff like that. So that's quite good. Also supporting obviously with Boots, so I look after pharmacy. We've got over 4,000 pharmacists that work for us, so supporting with people that want to move around within the business as well. So that's really good.
Incredible. Now Samantha, you're an internal communications assistant at Boots. Such a great role. What was the biggest thing the pandemic taught you about yourself when it came to finding a job?
When it came to finding a job, I went for various interviews, and I think the thing that taught me the most was not to be so hard on myself. I think it can be a grueling time when you do get rejected, and I think sometimes you have to just stop, take a break, and reflect on what you have achieved. Sometimes I used to write down 3 things that I did well and 3 things I didn't, and I always had to champion the things I did well. And the things that I didn't beat myself up about it. I just thought, okay, let's practice on that. Let's see where I can improve on. I think in the pandemic, it was really hard to find a job, but just remember you're not alone, and to go and seek in your confidence and talk to them.
Yeah. And how long was that process for you to, searching for the job, interviewing, and then actually getting the job that you're in now?
So it did take actually a good year for me to find the best role for me.
Yeah.
But from going for these various interviews, I learnt different techniques, I learnt the different questions, and ultimately I learnt a lot about myself and my resilience. And then when I did find the role that I'm in now, I knew it was the perfect one for me.
Yeah, because especially through the pandemic, I think a lot of people have become quite doubtful of their own skills and confidence.
Definitely.
And you just sound super resilient. But obviously, that's been a learning process for you.
Definitely, yeah.
What tips would you give to people to be a bit more resilient and actually go towards their goals?
I would say just don't be so hard on yourself. It's easy to think to yourself, oh, I didn't get that perfect job that I really, really want. And you do beat yourself up. Like I said, just take that time out and reflect, where did I go wrong? And one thing I used to do, I used to save in my emails all the great feedback I got and all the great achievements I did in at university and also through school and stuff. And I'd go back on there and I'd look at all of that stuff I did. And I think, Sam, you've got so far in life, don't be so hard on yourself.
And where did you learn that? Was that just something that you inherently knew, or did someone help you with that and realise those things?
I think I did a lot of research. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos like a lot of young people do. And I used to hear a lot of YouTubers talk about their struggles, and it was so nice for them to be open. And I looked online at different stories on LinkedIn. LinkedIn was a really good tool for me to look at how they got to where they need to be. So I feel like do your research because it really does help.
Yeah. And what one tip would you give someone that is struggling at the moment? If there was one thing that you think that could really help them based on your experience, what would that one tip be?
I would say, I know it can be annoying, but trust the process, be patient, because there is something out there for you. You just need to trust the process.
Hi, it's Fearne here. I am an ambassador for the Prince's Trust, and I had quite a big career change about 5 years ago now, for several reasons. I think I was definitely looking for new challenges. I was going through stuff personally that definitely stopped me doing certain things in the job that I was doing before for a very long time. And I guess accidentally, really, I moved into this area of talking about mental health. So I have my Happy Place podcast, and we have our Happy Place festival and app and other projects that we're working on. And I was definitely slightly nervous moving into this new territory at first because I was really learning on the job, and I still am. I think the greatest joy of this new career is connecting with people on, luckily, a really deep level. I get to talk to people about incredibly personal things and hear their story and sometimes share a bit of my own. So it's been deeply healing and massively interesting talking about all of these different subjects and hearing certainly my podcast guest stories each week. It's an absolute joy. I definitely think it's helped me confidence-wise because we've had such an amazing reaction from our lovely Happy Place community on the episodes, and how each episode has really helped people in their own lives and helped people speak out about their own mental well-being. So I think that's really boosted me, and it certainly motivates me to do better and to keep learning and to keep expanding. And I think that one, luckily, is never ending. I can never get to a place, I guess, where I know everything about mental health or where I've heard every story. There's always another story to hear. There's always something new to learn. So I feel really lucky that the joyful bit of my career is just everlasting, and I can keep growing and I can keep learning and I can keep getting better at interviewing, better at writing, and more knowledgeable about the sort of festival scene as well. So yeah, I think the learning bit is a big part of the joy as well. If you want to change your career and try something new, why not set up a phone call with a Prince's Trust member to take those first steps to a better future? Thank you so much for listening. Now let's head back to the studio.
So Ryan, as this masterclass is all about the joy of the journey, I wanted to ask each one of you, what joys does your job bring?
Cool. So I think the main one is definitely the people. Like, I think regardless of what job I've kind of been in, the people make it. Like, you have so much fun, you spend so much time at work together. So that's definitely number one. I would also say solving problems, ironically, I love, because I think the start of the process is a bit annoying, like everybody hates it, but the buzz once you've solved a problem is amazing. I think the last thing would be results. Like, I love on a Monday, every Monday we report on all of the results, and kind of when they're good, everyone's buzzing. So yeah, definitely results driven.
And Joe, what about you? What joys does your job bring?
Quite similar actually, in terms of working in a team. That makes the job incredibly enjoyable, all the different characters you get to interact with. But then also we have a lot of communication with candidates in my job, so it's quite nice to be able to hear about why candidates are applying and sort of build a bit of a rapport with some of them. And then it's quite satisfying being able to bring quite a lot of order to what is, without us, quite a chaotic amount of work coming in, and we just have to order it, and by the end of the day hopefully it's all in check, so it's quite a satisfying finish.
Nice. And Samantha, what joys does your job bring?
I think I can defo echo what you both said. It's definitely the team. I have an amazing team around me, and I actually have disabilities, and my team really do champion my disabilities. And I think also as well, I work in communication, so I have a voice to communicate and tell the whole audience about the amazing things we're doing, and really add a bit of sparkle to it all, so it's so exciting. And I think as well in my job, I get to meet a lot of our team members and celebrate them. And I just love meeting people, because one, I like going off on a tangent anyway, and two, I think seeing other people's remarkable achievements really just thinks, wow, they've really got somewhere, they've done really well for themselves, so it's nice to watch that.
Amazing. Sam,
Yes.
what joys does your job bring?
Yeah, definitely. Same as everyone else, really. For me, number one thing is the team that I work in, day in, day out. Obviously, working with really talented people that you get on with really well. Throughout my time at Boots, I've met some people through work who have actually become my friends. So that's really nice. And then I guess aside from that, the day-to-day, the actual tasks of the job. Really enjoy speaking with a candidate and sort of going on a bit of a journey with them over a number of weeks or months or whatever it is, into a point where you find a sort of suitable role for them. It's quite firm in that.
Yeah. And it must be really fun being able to give someone the opportunity that they've always wanted and hiring them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it is. It's like the number one problem solver as well, because obviously you've got a hiring manager who really wants to, to fill a job, and you manage to match them with the candidate that's perfect to do that. So that's really nice. Obviously, building great relationships with hiring managers as well is another really nice thing, because then people come to you for support and for solutions, which is quite nice.
Yeah, amazing.
My main job role is to work in the stock room and help people over there to manage the stock and helping the customer as well.
So my role at Boots, I'm a number 7 beauty advisor. So on a typical day, I'd go out, try and connect with customers, offer makeovers, doing skin consultations and makeup consultations.
Christmas time it's so busy, they'll have a taste of something that's probably not normal in a retail store, and it's really rewarding for them to learn, and it gives them more confidence, because if they can work in a busy store at Christmas, they can work anywhere.
So I gained some new experience, I learned new things about warehouse and shop floors, about dealing with customers and boosting up my communication and my confidence.
Boots has continued and helped me to develop and support myself by giving me extra training. They're always there when you need help or advice for anything, and the training they do give at Boots it's really good. We do have a lot of ways to still develop and support and develop your skills.
It really helped me. It gets you out of your comfort zone and you meet new people every day, do new things. So it really helps in boosting our confidence.
I would recommend the programme to other young people 100%. It's just a really good way to get yourself into working and just to get used to that working environment, and it helps just with your own skills, it helps with your confidence. It's just a really good way to ease yourself into working life.
Yes, I would highly recommend that Boots Princess Trust program.
As Samantha just referenced, living through a pandemic has been devastating for young people. I felt the impact, and it's probably safe to say we've all felt the impact. And if life wasn't hard enough right now, research from the Prince's Trust in its latest Class of COVID report reveals that 2.8 million young people in the UK don't think their job prospects will ever recover from the pandemic. And don't even get me started on the cost of living crisis. But the Prince's Trust understands and can help young people like me, you, and those who are tuned in to feel more confident about their future. It starts with putting away any self-doubt and seeing yourself, maybe for the first time, as a person who has the ability to make a difference. It's a step up, not a handout. That's why each Prince's Trust program is built on developing the confidence and skills to find a job or start a business that allows you to bring yourself into it. So talking of confidence, I've got some questions for the panel. So Joe, what makes you feel confident?
I think a big part of gaining confidence is taking risks. I think when you kind of hide away from risks, fear can kind of grow more. Yeah. But the more you take opportunities, put yourself out there, I think you start to realise, oh, I can do certain things, and the consequence of failing isn't that high. And I think as well as that is learning that when you do fail in certain things, that's not a reflection of your value or anything like that. It's just part of living is failing, so yeah.
And would you say that doubt kind of fades away as you're kind of like going through the process and just keep going?
Yeah, I think it becomes weaker the more you kind of just back yourself to do things, you know, yeah.
And Ryan, so can you share a bit about your experiences and how you feel confident?
Yeah, sure. So I think how I sort of make myself feel confident, especially before things like, I don't know, presentations, I think there's a few things. So for me, preparation is key. So I always make sure I know what I'm going to say when I'm presenting. I'd also say that kind of knowledge is power. So again, making sure that I'm sort of well-versed in what I'm talking about. I think another thing is looking after yourself as well. So I think there's been sometimes maybe, I don't know, take a presentation example again. If you go into that presentation, I don't know, you've not had much sleep, for example, then you kind of don't perform as well. So I think like getting a good night's sleep, meditation, affirmations, I think makes you feel more confident in yourself and you perform much better in those experiences.
And Sam, did you always know what you wanted to be?
No, funnily enough, I didn't. So when I was at sixth form, there was a big sort of push on me to go to university from my tutors and things like that. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I didn't know that I knew that university wasn't going to be for me. So what I did do is I enrolled onto the Boots Work Inspiration programme, and that gave me a really good insight as to sort of the roles that I could do as an entry-level sort of candidate in the market. And obviously, you know, here I am 8 years later, still working here. So yeah, it was really good, that. And
Samantha, what makes you feel confident?
I think for me feeling confident is just empowering myself. So I mentioned before I have learning disabilities, and I actually found that when I was at university and I was 20 years old, and I was like, oh my God, I'm an adult. I should know by now if I've got learning disabilities or not. So for me, that was a huge, huge challenge to overcome. And I never really saw anybody talking about disabilities, never really having a platform to talk about. So I thought, as a young person, I have the power to change the status quo. So I'm going to use my voice to where I can and use it to an advantage. So by me talking about my struggles and by me talking about where sometimes having dyslexia that I really struggle to understand what people are talking to me about, it really helped me build confidence because I was empowering myself. And I think we all need to remember, don't be too hard on yourself. We're all amazing in a way that maybe you don't realise, but everybody around you does. So I would say just keep remembering that.
Yeah. And it definitely works because you're like so super confident now.
Yeah, and I think I love to meet other people and share kind of my story with them, and then they feel the confidence to share it with mine. And I think we're so privileged to live in kind of like a society where we have the power to like kind of voice those kind of reasons to feel confident.
Yeah. So having a good network really helps.
Yeah, really do. I've had amazing like work family who really champion my disabilities, and that's something I couldn't ask more of. And I have an amazing like friendship network and family who champion that as well.
Regardless of your experience, everyone has skills they can offer. What's important is knowing how to demonstrate the skills you already have for your CV and interviews. We know this can sometimes be easier said than done. That's why we're going straight to the panel for their expert advice. They've been there and succeeded. So Joe, what advice would you give to young people looking for work right now?
I would say don't be scared to dream and really write down. I think one thing I did which I found really helpful was to write down every job I've ever wanted to do, even if it was just for a day I wanted to do it, because it just helps you start to identify some trends that you've sort of consistently have come up in your life, and yeah, it might just broaden your horizons a little bit about what you actually believe you could do.
Yeah.
And then as well as that, I would say be persistent, but don't be sort of put off by any rejections you might get. I think one thing I found helpful was scheduling in time to look for jobs rather than just doing it quite casually, because it can be quite demoralising if you're just constantly looking at jobs on your phone or whatever. But if you schedule the time in, it can feel a little bit more sort of like you do it, you leave it, you move on, you know.
Do you have any tips of dealing with rejection?
It's not a reflection of your value, so it's part of just taking opportunities is sometimes facing rejection.
And just keep going.
Yeah, but understandably it does sometimes disappoint, and that's okay as well. So, yeah.
Cool. Ryan, what skills did you need to do the Boots Christmas temp role?
So I think there was two main ones really. So I think the first one is definitely communication and people skills. Obviously you're dealing with your team on a daily basis, but also customers, so being able to talk to them. And then I think the second one is definitely working as a team. So obviously you've all got to pull together, get stock out, and get all the jobs done. I do think one of the main things that helped me though was that I did do 2 weeks of work experience at Boots when I was a little bit younger. So I think having that sort of experience under my belt along with those skills was really helpful to get the role.
Yeah. And what would you say to young people who are still trying to figure out, you know, what their skills and their strengths are?
Yeah, so I think I would say just get into something, as in job-wise. So I think as soon as you've started one thing, you'll start to really quickly sort of learn about yourself, what you like and what you don't like, and I think you move from there. I do also think though that online you can sort of do quizzes and things like that and start to fill out questionnaires about you, like skills questionnaires, and it will tell you or give you a flavour of what your strengths are and skills are.
Yeah, amazing, great point. Samantha, how did the pandemic impact you?
I think the pandemic impacted me because I just graduated university, so it was 3 years of hard work, and I was like, woo, I've done. But then no one kind of told me about how hard it would be to actually find a job. So I found that really, really difficult because you had all these skills that you learnt from university, and you thought, yes, I'm a new person, I really want a job, but everybody wanted experience, and that's something you didn't have because you didn't have experience. But I think This is where I volunteered so I could get that experience. I did radio shows where I volunteered, one for a younger audience, one for an older audience. I had my own beauty blog as well because I was really passionate about makeup. I loved talking about it, and it really helped my writing skills as well. And then I just tried to like watch as many YouTube, read as many like stories, and I think it really helped me build me up to kind of help apply for those roles.
Amazing. We now have 2 videos we wanted to share with you which feature young people from the Prince's Trust, Nissa and James. Nissa supported Boots at an event where she was their social media executive for the evening, gaining lots of experience and confidence along the way, and James was Boots' competition winner. His Christmas cards, tags, and wrapping paper designs are on sale at Boots right now. So let's hear from them.
Hi, I'm Nissa. I'm a Prince's Trust young person who came along to see the behind the scenes at the Boots Christmas showcase, where I put the skills that I had learned into action and captured some content for Boots after completing the Make It Media programme with the Trust. The key skills that I gained from the Make It and Media programme with the Prince's Trust were learning how to shoot a camera, including angles and shots, how to brand and market myself in a very competitive industry, public speaking, and how a live TV production works. So I put those skills into practice at the showcase when I was taking pictures and videos of the products and celebrities that I attended. And the confidence I gained from the public speaking masterclasses from the programme really helped when I had to improvise interviewing celebrities like Angelica Bell and John White. The main things that I will be taking away from my role at the Christmas showcase would obviously be singing Mariah Carey with Angelica Bell, definitely a highlight, but also how fast-paced an event like that is, how important it is to multitask, and how you just need to back yourself and be confident when you're put in front of a camera.
Hi, my name is James. I'm a Prince's Trust young entrepreneur, and I won the Christmas card competition with Boots on Here Are the Products in real life. So I've got my cards there, and I've got some wrapping paper, there we are. So I've always loved drawing. I studied fine art at university, and ever since after university I've always kept on drawing. When the pandemic happened, I went kind of full-time illustration, freelance illustration, doing a lot of client work. So it got to the point where I was only doing client work and essentially drawing what the people wanted me to draw. So I started working with the Prince's Trust to help start a kind of another side of the business where I'd be selling my own kind of work on cards and other products. So yeah, that's why I started kind of creating my own designs. So really these designs came about because I was kind of needing an excuse to do some other drawing rather than just client work, really. Something out of my own imagination, and it kind of gave me an excuse to do that. Working with the Prince's Trust was really useful. When I started my kind of journey to become a freelance illustrator, I was winging it. Didn't really know what I was doing in terms of being self-employed. So the Prince's Trust really helped me with some really practical things around sort of kind of tax returns, finance, business plans, marketing. So yeah, they really offered me some really valuable advice really early on in that journey. It really feels good to see the designs in real life, especially in a kind of a national store. It's a real confidence boost to see some of my actual work actually on shelves in the UK. Yeah, it's really, really exciting, and yeah, really boosted my confidence to think that actually I'm good enough to do this. So yeah, it's really good.
What a great opportunity for Nissa and James to have had. This Christmas, Boots have also been running for the 3rd year in a row Get Into Retail programs across their stores, with many of the young people gaining employment after taking part. And in their Nottingham support office, they've welcomed young people to go behind the scenes and see what it takes to make Christmas happen. Let's hear from some of the young people about their experience of getting involved.
My highlight of the day was probably waking up, coming into town, meeting everyone, and then coming and exploring this environment and the workplace. And it's a different change of pace than everything I've done before, which is really nice.
My highlight of the day is the experience and actual little projects what we've been doing and the little walk around, the little talking. That's most of my favourite highlights of the day.
It's definitely opened my eyes to more opportunities than I thought before with everything else I've done. Always keep your eyes open and look for new opportunities.
So Sam, as a HR expert, what makes a CV stand out?
It's a really good question. So obviously with a CV, if you're working in recruitment quite often, you're looking at lots of different applications every day. And unfortunately, if you're a candidate, you only get 15 seconds to make a good impression. So the number one tip that I would give would be to put your most relevant experience at the top of your CV. That's definitely the best way that you'll get noticed.
And would you suggest people maybe making certain tweaks to their CV if they go into a certain place?
For sure, yeah. So you have got to understand the role that you're applying for and understand what of your experience is relevant to that role, and definitely, put that front and centre of your CV, really.
And what are you looking for in your next employee?
So I think for myself, in recruitment for Boots, obviously you want to recruit candidates that reflect the values of the company. So for us, a big thing would be care. So you want to see people coming into the business that reflect the values that the company's already got. So yeah, 100% that would be.
And what should young people do if they want to succeed? Big question.
Yeah, this is a very, very big question, that. So for me, I think I'd probably echo some of the sort of thoughts that the guys have shared already. Just throwing yourself at opportunities. Just keep going. If you apply for a job and you're not successful, keep going. If you apply for a job, you get it, and it's not the job for you, you don't enjoy it, keep going. It's an experience. You found out what you don't like, so that's one more tick off the list, really. So yeah, just throw yourself at everything, get as much experience as you possibly can.
Yeah. Do you tend to see people stay on after temping at Christmas?
Yeah. So obviously, with a temporary contract, it's not always the case that you do. I think all four of us actually sat around here. We were just having a quick chat, and I think we all started on temporary contracts. So for myself, it was a Christmas contract that I started on. I think it was only 4 months. But yeah, I think I got made permanent after about 3. So, and I've done various different temporary roles since, lots of different secondments. Each one has given me a new set of skills. Yeah. So definitely a temporary contract, you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. And as long as that person takes that advantage, really shows themselves.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it goes back to if you're reflecting the values of the company and you're working hard and you're producing, ultimately your employer's going to want to retain you if they can. Yeah. So that's definitely not something to be put off by.
Yeah. And what are your top 3 tips when applying for a job?
Yeah, another really good question. So I think the number one thing that you can do is understand the job that you're applying for. The second thing would be to understand the company that you're applying for. And I think for me, the third tip would be to understand how your experience relates to that and what you can actually offer your employer. I think if you're really clear on that, you'll have the best chance of being successful.
Mm-hmm. And how can a young person actually find what that brand or the company's values are and apply it to their CV?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know about other companies, but certainly for Boots, we've got really strong presence on boots.jobs in terms of what we offer as an employer, what working for Boots means. We've got loads of personal blogs on there that talk about different career stories, and yeah, the Boots Jobs page is a real good reflection of our values as a company, I think. So you get a good idea from that.
So thank you everyone for sharing your stories. It's been super interesting to hear from all of you, and the tips have been amazing as well. We're offering you a chance to win a hamper worth over £250 in time for Christmas with lots of gift goodies, including designer fragrances, makeup, accessories, and a £50 Boots gift card. Whether you want to treat yourself or you're still struggling to find the perfect gift for a friend or loved one, this prize will sort you right out. Thank you, Boots. For your chance to enter, all you need to do is head over to the Prince's Trust Facebook or Instagram channel right now and share our post with a friend. Terms and conditions can be found in the link below and the Trust's social media channels. We've come to the end of our Joy of the Journey masterclass, but thanks to the power of YouTube, you can rewind and watch back at any time. Shout out to all our wonderful guests today. Thank you for sharing your experiences, stories, and tips. Just a reminder that the Prince's Trust helps young people like you all over the UK to build confidence and skills to find a job or start a business. They've helped me, and they can certainly help you too. There are lots of opportunities available to start now and in the new year across a range of sectors, including health and social care, IT, retail, and digital careers. We know it's a challenging time right now, but we're on hand to support you. Get in touch with a member of the Prince's Trust team using the live chat function on our website to start something today. Go to princes-trust.org.uk. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out the competition.